Hello, and welcome to the Spark Change podcast. I'm Denise Miller. I'm the advocacy coordinator for Firesteel, which is a network of Washington YWCAs working to end homelessness through innovative advocacy.
And I'm Erin Murphy. I am the Director of Community Engagement for the YWCA Seattle Kingston-Homish.
All right, guys, it's been a while. We haven't made a podcast in almost 2 months.
Yeah.
It maybe seems like we just went on fancy vacations, but no, we have been working hard.
Yeah, we were not on summer break.
We instead were doing an exciting project with StoryCorps, recording stories about family homelessness, and we were also relaunching our website, which we encourage you to check out at firesteelwa.org.
Yeah, we're really excited about the new look. We're also really happy to be back podcasting today, and we are going to be talking about tools for creating images to use in your advocacy, so everything visual.
That's right. So it can be really daunting to create images. I've certainly opened the Photoshop program and just seen that blank canvas and all these mysterious tools and kind of gotten not writer's block but image creator's block. Where do I start?
Mm-hmm.
But we've found some tools that are free and make it easy to get started making images. So you can do it quickly and you can do it on the cheap or completely free. We like that.
We're not all graphic designers. We may wish we were or had one working with us, but when you don't, there's still a lot of really fantastic options. And so Denise and I have been able to experiment and test things out ourselves in the past, but we want to talk a little bit about why images and visual is even important in the first place.
Yeah, so I mean, they are what really can draw people in to your content, whether it's your social media spaces or your website, blog posts. Those images are going to be the first thing that catches people's eyes and can hook them.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I think it's important to remember, too, that different people filter and interpret information in different ways. For those people who really are visual learners, we want to make sure that we're providing information to them in a medium that they really understand.
And some people will remember information much better if it's tied with an image. So you can not only get people to view your stuff, but to remember it. And beyond that, to share it. There's lots of data that social media posts that have images are shared more often. So you can reach way more people if you take a little time to create a thoughtful image to accompany your post.
So it's totally worth doing it. We recommend it. Some ways we've done it in the past include creating images to complement our past Domestic Violence Awareness Month campaigns, and so to really highlight some of our key messaging around domestic violence and housing, we created images that were shared across all of our different social channels and really helped to encourage other people to share those images and got our message out even further.
That's right. So some of them were sort of more standalone images. So for example, like the domestic violence images would have like a fact on them. So somebody could learn something super quickly. They were often, pretty surprising facts and statistics and things like that.
Right.
So you could learn just by seeing the image. You could share the image, and then you could also, get drawn into more content. So click through to the blog post that had a lot more information around it.
Right.
And
We've
then,
also dabbled in infographics. So one of our ongoing advocacy issues is the Housing Trust Fund, and that can be a lot of information and it can be hard to grasp. And so we have, in the past, created an infographic which essentially takes that information and communicates that visually.
We also had a lot of fun creating meme images. So it was earlier this year that we decided to do a big online advocacy day to rally people to advocate for our housing issues in Olympia. And so working with some of our partner organizations, we created just a ton of different memes. So you would see things like, for example, one that I made was the boss from Office Space. I don't know if you guys remember this, but he's encouraging his employee to come in on a Saturday. And so our reimagining of that scene is, the boss, and he said, yeah, if you could come to Advocacy Day, that'd be great. So there were lots of fun things like that, and we'll link to all of these graphics that we're talking about in the blog post that accompanies this podcast.
Quotes are another thing that can be made into some powerful images. So if you are writing a blog post or creating content for your website and there's something that you really want to jump out, not only can you bolden text, but you can actually take it out and make it into its own image so it really, really pops.
Yeah, we did that one time. There was an advocate named Terry who did a little interview for us, and one of the things that he said, a lot of people have the idea that people make their bad decisions and that's why they're in poverty, and so he said, tell me what hungry 3-year-old child has made bad life decisions. And I thought that was a powerful quote that could, really draw people in. So I used one of the tools that we're going to talk about to just create a little block image with that quote.
Yeah. So let's get into the tools. Infographics first. I believe we have 3 different tools to share with you all, and we'll introduce them and then talk a little bit about some of the awesome things about them and then maybe some of the challenges.
Yeah, so infographics, as we said, they can really break down data, they can make it interesting, and they're great to include either in the context of a web page or a post, or ideally they could be just standalone things. So if they got taken out of context and shared, they would still be really meaningful to whoever sees them.
Right.
So some tools for creating these, one of them is Infogram. And by the way, all the tools that we're going to talk about have some free use that you can use, but a lot of them have upgrade options. Right. So, get the pro plan for $20 a month, and you can lose the watermark and, get more templates and things like that. But we were impressed by just with all of the things we're going to talk about, just how much you can do with just the free parts. So with Infogram, there's a ton of chart templates. So there's bar graphs and pie graphs and donut graphs and all the graphs. And so you can use a kind of Excel style spreadsheet, input your own data, and it'll spit out like a really nice looking graph. So you can like kind of interweave those graphs with text that you enter. You can upload pictures. You can actually embed videos, which was unique to Infogram, and we thought that was a really cool feature. So yeah, you can just kind of they can be about as long as you want them to. So you could have chart after chart explaining your story in different ways.
I think Infogram also has a nonprofit discount as well, so they can be pretty affordable on a month-to-month basis, and if you buy it for a year, it's even cheaper. And I don't believe you can save your infographics with a free account, but you can publish them online. So they still will be saved. It's just not necessarily on your computer. So that's one thing to think about in terms of the free account and then upgrading.
Yep. So we'll talk about another really similar tool, which is PictoChart. That's P-I-K-T-O chart. And so this one has some really nice looking templates. It actually had more kind of pre-existing template options than Infogram did. And it also has lots of chart types similar to Infogram. So you can make really cool interactive maps. You can modify, any of the color schemes. So if you, have branding for your organization, you could make the colors match whatever your branding is.
Yeah. One of my favorite components about PictoChart is the fact that they had interactive maps. So they had map templates, but they were already set up to be really interactive. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and then one more that we'll briefly talk about is easily. So easel, like something you paint on, .ly. And so what really jumped out at us is with the first two that we talked about, you have to kind of create a login, and that takes a little bit of time. It's a couple extra steps. With this one, you can actually just jump right in and start creating and sharing without going through those steps.
Yeah, it's just nice that you can test it out before committing to actually registering. So I really like that feature. I think Easily was actually my favorite just in terms of how usable it was. It felt very, very accessible, but it is not, it does not emphasize data in the same way, so it's not for charts and graphs. It really is more of those sort of picture images. So I believe they're actually still in beta, so I don't think there are upgrade plans yet, as they're still building their product out. So it definitely keeps things competitive, and therefore I think really good.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so moving on to memes. So these are fun, as I mentioned. They're great for social media. You can get lots of shares if you come up with a nice, clever meme. And I would just say be careful about the context in which you use them. At Firesteel, we deal with some really, really heavy topics, homelessness and domestic violence and things like that. And so there's a lot of things that we wouldn't want to be lighthearted about. But, on the occasions when we can have some fun with it, like we're trying to rally people to an event, it's a really fun way. Like I just had such a ball creating all the memes for that advocacy day.
So just use good judgment.
Exactly. And so just a couple of the really popular tools for this. One of them is, I don't know how to pronounce it, like Imgur, I-M-G-U-R. And that one allows you to easily see what types of images and memes are popular across the internet. You can easily create a meme using whatever default images other people are using, or you can even upload your own photo if you want. And they make it super easy to share on different platforms.
That's really, really nice.
Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of the most popular and sort of the most standard site.
Yeah, there is another similar site that is out there as well. This one is called Meme Generator. And so similarly, it has a big collection of images. And if you're not feeling particularly clever today and need some inspiration of other things that are out there, you can search for other options, things that other people have created, things that are trending. I think one of the challenges with Meme Generator that is different is that it isn't quite as easy to share it. I think you can save the image. So I just basically took a screenshot, or I right-clicked it and saved it to my computer, and then I would have to save it or share it as a JPEG. But it just kind of added one extra step. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yep. Cool. Memes. Check. Next thing, stylized quotes. So often these will be from famous people, so people can kind of recognize who said it, and they're not confused, like, why do I care what this person said? So that's what you'll often see on social media, is like quotes from Martin Luther King or a past president or something like that.
Although it's always good to think critically about what you're reading, because people can just make this up, create them yourselves, as we are telling you to do. And so it's not always necessarily from that person. I swear Bill Cosby says everything on the internet. It's not necessarily true. So just, again, use good judgment.
Oh, yeah, good point, good point. So if you did want to use one from somebody who's not necessarily well-known, I think a good use of that, like we talked about when I quoted that advocate before, is you can use it to break up text and just make your blog or your website kind of more visually appealing.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and it's a great idea for Pinterest too. I mean, people will have entire boards dedicated to quotable quotes or inspiring words and things of that sort. So.
yeah, for sure. So one super easy, super fast site for creating these kinds of images is called Quozio. And so basically, I mean, it can take a minute. You just
So fast.
go right to the website. There's no login or anything. You just type in the quote, and then there's another area where you enter who said it, and then boom, it just creates it creates an image. And so there's a very limited number of backgrounds and kind of like preset styles that you can choose from. And then you, again, in one click, like you can share it across social media platforms. And yeah, super fast, super easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a sort of more complex way to do it that takes a little more time but gives you a lot more control is a site called PicMonkey. And it's basically a full-on photo editor. It has a lot of the same tools and options that you can get from something like Photoshop.
I had so much fun playing around with it. When I was doing it, I was like, no, really, I'm working. I am. So much fun.
Yeah. Really, really so you can upload images, you can overlay text over them, you can use effects, you can it does have like wrinkle removers and things like that, which we're not condoning, but have those images.
They are really good at marketing too, because I noticed they are really subtle about the features that you have to have an upgraded pro account to use. So they're really good at presenting those and making you want them, but then letting you know you have to upgrade. I do think that their upgrade is pretty reasonable. If I remember, it was only a couple of bucks a month, maybe even as cheap as $5 a month. So if it's something you really would use, that's fantastic. And I was, I think, most impressed by this visual website more than anybody, because they've done a really good job connecting their share buttons with different cloud services. So I know they had both Dropbox and OneDrive connected up there. So if you didn't want to just save it to your computer, you can immediately save it to the cloud, which is especially cool if you are collaborating on something with people who aren't necessarily on the same network, but you're using cloud together. So that was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Hear that, all you other websites?
Yeah.
You like that easy sharing and collaboration.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So we want to hear from you. What tools have you used to create images? What strategies did you use for sharing them? Let us know. There are lots of ways you can do that. So you can go to our newly revamped website, firesteelwa.org, and leave comments there. You can tweet at us at firesteelwa. You can find us on Facebook or YouTube or Google Plus or Pinterest.
We're in all of the places.
All the places. Leave us some comments. Talk to us. We want to hear from you.
So we want to make sure that you know that this will be made available as the Spark Change podcast, excuse me, available on iTunes as an audio podcast, but we also make it available as a video podcast on our YouTube account, and we also have it as a blog post on our website, and we will make sure to include links to all of these tools that we've mentioned today. So make sure that you visit any one of those places to access these tools. So,
yeah, and you can subscribe.
Oh, yeah. Way to flag it, Denise.
Subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. You will never miss an episode. And you can join the dozen other people who subscribe. We would really love to grow that number, so please consider it.
Yeah, we really do celebrate every single new subscriber. I'm not even kidding. And so know that when you subscribe, Denise and I give a high five or a cheer or something. We love to see your
little dance.
So we will celebrate you when you subscribe.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Till next time.
Yeah, until next time. Bye.